Do not head into this map. It's certainly not easy for Incipience just yet. Still an uphill battle.
Attackers
Still trying to push
in 30 seconds.
a boulder uphill, to be quite honest. Based on what we saw from Icon Boulder, if this map goes anywhere near the result of that, first of all, that will be a 3-0 in favor of Nova Esports. So second of all, that will be one of the more concerning losses that Incipience has had. 0-3 start to the season for the Singaporeans. Would certainly spell doom to their overall season results, but let's not count our chickens before they hatch and see if this is a position for Incipience to come back in and with a Bastion strat nonetheless. The Bastion is not going to get repaired just yet. It's going to have to wait for the full respawn. Gotta remember to clear the traps, people. Gotta remember to clear those steel traps onto the ground. And I think Incipience, after learning that one the hard way, will have to readdress this push. Not gonna be able to run the Bastion strat this time around. I do believe what they were trying to do is go around to the left flank from what you can see, get onto the high ground all the way to the left, force Nova back to the point, and then be putting the Bastion in a place that's hard to assail. But opting to change up their strategy. Nova not going to do that though. Nova not going to have a bar of this from Incipience. Double kill onto the tire, a quick tire as well. I'm not sure Incipience really considered how quickly one was going to build up this tire. Drop another trap this time around, and the good news is at least Incipience aren't getting caught out by traps necessarily anymore. But running a Goats composition, triple tank, triple support into one means big punishment if you are one. In fact, this could be bad as well because blue is uncontested. Oh, it's again, you got to check for traps. Fearless doesn't die, but it was also a considerable slowdown. If Incipience can get onto the point off the back of this coalescence and force Nova Esports to come to them, this is where Incipience can maybe get this fight when one tick coming on through. Nova has to touch now. Nova doing a lot more than just touching, man. They are running over Incipience. This is pretty brutal at this stage. The good news for Incipience is they managed to get one tick. So progress on the board now. But another team comp change. And a stagger on Xenofly. So it'll be full dive now. I guess the good news is because they got that one tick, they do open up the point a little bit. I say they open up the point, but Nova Esports do also just sit back up onto that high ground. Incipience still have to play into the same scenario now against more ultimates. Rally should be coming up fairly soon. Tire versus a dive comp as well is, I mean, very easy for one to get kills with that. Shiki nearly got D-mech there, but speaking of D-mech, Xenofly just cannot stay alive at the moment. Valk came out, here comes the tires on the tire. Honestly, not even really needed. The fact that the tire didn't get any kills honestly doesn't even make a difference. This should just be a fight win regardless. The only real pity there for one is kind of wishes he saved the tire for next fight. That's something that Incipience is going to be quite, at least somewhat happy with. They'll be much happy with taking out Crazies. That's one support down at Cryptic on the side flank is the first bit of really good news for Incipience on this push. They haven't managed to get back to the point since. Cryptic is still in a position where he's looking for some impact. Finds impact straight between the eyes, or Blue's going to send them back to base with Fearless down. There's not going to be any braces available. Incipience is going to have another push. Stop up. Another player caught in a steel trap. I swear no one looks at the ground. That's got to change for Incipience as well. Like death on Xeon Flux. 30 seconds remaining. 47.2% so far on the first cap.
30 seconds remaining.
There's a lot less ultimates available for Nova now. Maybe one gets another tire, but there's also a good possibility that he just doesn't because you kill him. Especially if Cryptic can get this good blade out, man. There's so much damage coming on one. Look, he's already up to 72. This blade needs to come out sooner rather than later. In fact, most of the ultimates from Incipience need to come out now sooner rather than later. Heading into the overtime now. Savage Dab with the Primal first off. Eyes on Cryptic. They find the kills. That's 2. 2's probably enough. 3 will definitely be enough. No comeback potential here. The tire from 1 doesn't get anything. No miracles. I would go as far as to say even if, again, no one checks the ground. I'd go as far as to say even if 1 found tire kills. Not enough people alive from Nova. to actually recontest that A point. But they did manage to force the overtime, which now means Incipience are again in a difficult place. I'd say a more difficult place compared to their A push for getting into B. This is a much harder point to fight onto. I don't quite have snowball momentum either, even considering that Nova had to reset their composition. They get one kill though. Rally available, and Oyo just in the faces of everyone. Blue finds himself a triple, looking for the fourth. Doesn't want to be too greedy, that's respectable at least. Here comes the comp change up from Incipience. So I guess they didn't really have ults to play with anyway, so they're not too concerned about losing ults they didn't have. So it'll be full goats now. And unless they can do something akin to what Blank did just earlier versus AVRL and Anubis, where on a push they're not expected to win, they suddenly win. I would say for Incipience this could be difficult, especially if Fearless already goes down to 1, who on a Doofus is more than equipped to take out the Ghost composition. And I'd say for Blue as well, after using this blade, could even look to just swap onto a Fire, or could swap onto a Junkrat. Incipience will be in a pretty tough place. That was a pretty quick fight. Very, very quick fight for Nova Esports. Incipience didn't even make it to the point. The goal for Incipience here with Goats is to realistically be able to start a brawl onto the objective where they're favored to win, and then immediately have objective pressure to cap out. But currently, they're not even really able to rotate onto the point before they're intercepted by Nova. I'd go as far as to say it's probably not going to change too much. Let's change somewhat. They touched the point. Blue's got the blade out, Meteor Strike from 1 as well. The blade doesn't do much. Meteor Strike does a lot more. The Doomfist is carving through the tanks right now. Again, just so well equipped to deal with the Ghost composition. And this push is well and truly done right now. One himself taking 3 kills. The Incipience are at the sort of stage now where they can't really afford to change comps again. I mean, if they do change comps again, first of all, they don't get these current ults that they're working on. Second of all, they're unlikely to get the new ults that they'd be working on. And over Esports, they don't even have to have a Fire right now. They don't even have to have the Junkrat. Blue seems pretty content to just stay onto the Genji, despite the fact that, to be quite honest, the Blade didn't really do anything last time. Rally from Oyo again. He loves D-Mech, so we'll see if someone can get D-Mech here. The Meteor Strike, we know, had a lot of value. Players didn't quite get out of the way, and the grab could be what Incipience really need here. Backed by a Sound Barrier hitting all 6. Savage Nav still has the Shatter available as well. Doesn't need to use it just yet. Now it's getting a bit tricky for Nova. Now for Nova, you start to think this is not going to be the defense. And now you kind of wish Blue wasn't playing a Genji, but who knows, maybe he gets the kills, maybe he finds nothing. Yeah, he finds absolutely nothing. Well, now they do. Now they definitely wish they weren't playing a Genji pick. There's got to be some stall now coming out from Nexus. If Nova Esports can drag this into the overtime, that is still a worthwhile defense. But another quick grab into another quick string of kills. It's very likely we're not going to see the overtime here. It's really what Nova are trying to go for. It's the last thing they can go for. There it is. So I think Nova now can, even if they lose, be somewhat happy with the state of this hold. One's going to give it a go anyway. Oh, doesn't quite meet a strike in time. Unfortunate, but hey, forcing this into the full overtime is still pretty good. But what would have been better would be the full hold from Nova Esports, which they were somewhat threatening to take on both points A and B. But 2 great grabs out from Cryptic, said otherwise, and put, I would say, almost MVP player 1 on the Doomfist there into a position where, well, easy pickings, can't do anything in response. Blue just did not have enough impact on the Genji, as has been stated. So with both the EPSs out of the picture, and Incipience completing the GOAT's compositional objective, brawl onto the point where you're basically nigh unbeatable, except if Nova are running big AoE spam, which they weren't. Pretty straightforward cap from Incipience. So they finish the map, they get something on the board. We've already passed the point where we think it's a bit of a disaster. Like Eichenwald, it's definitely not that anymore. Now we're in the stage of it's suddenly quite winnable for Incipience, but that's only if Incipience can actually fully hold here, because if Nova finish the map, especially if they finish with any actual time, that is not good news for Incipience. And as has been said in previous matches this evening, at this sort of point where it's 0-2 for Incipience, they actually can't afford to draw. A draw would technically be a loss for them. They could only at best get a 1-2 scoreline, which is not enough to force them map 5. So they have to win. There's no option but to win. If they do not win, it is quite straightforward, a loss for Incipience, a loss for Singapore this day. Full dive now for Nova Esports versus Junk, Orisa, Widow. We'll see if Incipience can find the same sort of success again. Just unfortunate. Could not clear the trap in time. Rather, didn't even try to clear the trap, didn't see the trap. It's funny because Junkrats will put a trap basically like right there in the same place every single time, so you'd expect by now that you'd be able to see it. It's always in the same place, realistically. But alas. Slow start for Nova, but they don't really lose too much. It's not like they fed a bunch of ultimates. Cryptic's at 35. Taking a 1v1 against Blue. One does get a nice flank, but no assist here. Like, no one's here to help him. He's not going to get anything done with this. He needs a tank to be able to push on there with him. So far, Nova Esports, the tanks do manage to push on through, but Nexus instantly shut down by GNX. Any trades here will really do for Nova Esports. They're just looking for something. Any trade, that's one. You're hoping now, if you're Nova, you're hoping Felix doesn't get the res. Well, now the res doesn't matter even if it comes through. Here comes a Blade. Unnecessary, to be quite fair, unless one is going to change heroes anyway. If they're continuing to run this dive, then Nova are going to wish they had a Blade for point B, because currently they already had a huge player advantage even before the Blade came out. And GNX may have changed off the Widowmaker too early there as well. Should have stayed on the Widowmaker for a tad longer, sort of about now. Use the Infrasight now. Check if there are going to be compositional swaps or something, and then change. Doesn't really matter in the long scheme though. Over Esports going to push through anyway. Now they definitely wish they had a Blade, but maybe unlikely for them to get much done even with the Blade up against Tyre. Assuming this Tyre really does the work. Incipience already feeling the pressure. The wow, Savage Dab down. Fearless already used the Valkyrie. Is it the God Tyre? It looks like it will be. 2 kills. 2 kills is enough. And a Tyre from Cryptic's going to buy Incipience at least one fight win, some time to just breathe right now. Sometimes just catch their breath. Thinking about changing heroes here. Does go into Brigida, which is optimal to counter the die, so you'd probably agree with that one. But now this is where Nova Esports start to build these ultimates. You're looking at 4 now. Crazies on the Moira as well. You'd kind of prefer to see the Mercy, just because of how important that res can be for attacking the speed point, but what's done is done, at least for now. We're going to see the Blade though, that's what's important. This time around with the Blade, you should be able to expect to see a lot more, unless he gets shield bashed by Cryptic or blown up by that self-destruct. So far, neither of which has come true, so we're still in a pretty good place for one, at least so far. Cryptic's down to the dash, which means, well, no one's going to stop him. This looks like it's probably going to be a cap at this point, even with Crazies going down to Fearless. Support all combat off the map, but wow, Fearless really isn't done. He's taken down both supports as the Lucio. Actually, that might have done it. Taking down a 3rd kill. What is Fearless able to do here? Make that 4. That is insane. 4 kills just from Fearless as the Lucio player. And this is before the Lucio buff. Coming out with now Cryptic as the rally as well. Incipience hold on. They truly hold on to that push when Blue had already gone 3 to 4 kills onto the Blade. Killing just both the supports probably was going to be enough. Fearless probably already did his job. With no supports available for Nova, as Incipience start trickling back on, they just have the health lead. For 4 kills, you'll take it now. Oreo going down quickly. No res means, well, Nova probably had to back off. This defense is starting to really work out for Incipience. This was looking pretty bad at one stage. Fairly quick cap onto A into what looked to be a potential 4-minute or more time back, which would have been, you know, basically game over for Incipience heading into the time back with no time for themselves. Suddenly now in a much more winnable position, so you know for now we'll still, any cap happening at this point, 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes is still a considerable lead. Any lead is a lead. It's going down pretty quickly. Ooh. Especially when you see one connect those shots. I don't know what it is, man. We see the Doomfist. I was gonna say he's just very talented on it. Does go down to Xenofly, but that's the only kill that Incipience get. Full cap comes out. 239 is still considerably better than 0. This is gonna be super tough now. This is the time where for Incipience, I believe, if this is the overtime scenario that I'm thinking of, Incipience have actually already lost because Incipience needed to complete their full hole. No, I believe, no, it is correct, yes. So this is now Nova Esports with, if I'm reading this correctly, 2 minutes and 39 seconds to cap out 1/3 of A. And the best that Incipience can hope for is a full hold on A, leading to a draw, which is still technically a loss. So Nova have now technically won.
Attackers incoming.
Can they win with a good score? Can they get the kind of map differential score they're looking for to really challenge for those higher placings? They're trying to catch up right now. And Nova Esports, with this win, will be able to tie themselves up with blank. Both teams will be at 1 and 2, but this is why Nova Esports actually need the map differential, because Nova Esports, if they can get a decent number of map wins in here, will actually overtake blank, put blank into 5th place. That'll be a really sad place to see blank in, but Nova will be happy for themselves. Xavier's definitely excited. Incipience though, well, them and blank sitting at the bottom. Sad prospect. It's not over yet though, let's not talk about it like it is completely over. Because Incipience still can save face here, save their scoreline, which does matter. But there's a long flank already from Nova. You can see the kind of space Nova's taken here. Now the point is someone opened up. Cap pressure available. Incipience fully pushed backwards. Backline is open up. Cryptic is down. The tanks don't know where to look because there's dive members just all around. Hard to deal with. Very difficult for Incipience to deal with. Couldn't get themselves a lead. They couldn't stop the push through in Nova Esports. Just like that. It's kind of like Eichenwalder. It's mostly like Eichenwalder. Now it's going to be a 3-0 with that. I'm fairly sure that actually puts them above blank. Yeah. The only way Incipience could have held that is if they got some player adds during that initial rotation from Nova Esports, then play 6v5 or 6v4 or something, really push Nova Esports backwards, force them to reset, force them to wait for respawns and reinforcements. But because Nova Esports got that full rotation, found the flanks, forced Incipience back onto the point, again, had all the angles to work with, Nova Incipience didn't even know where to look at. Point was just done and dusted. That's a 3-0 now for Nova Esports and the team. For the first time this evening, a team that you'd say was probably more likely to win. Like, again, I'd say both teams at this stage kind of feel like underdogs because they're both or were at least both sitting at the bottom of the table. Nova's climbed out of that hole currently, especially with 3-0. 4-0 would really start to look good for their record. Really put Incipience in a much worse place. Incipience still only have 1 map win. By the end of this evening, they could get 2 map wins. That would be a improvement of 100%, which would be good for them. Eager to see what that map will be against. We haven't seen any Watch Point Gibraltar, so maybe Incipience can change that. Maybe Incipience can swap things around here, and we might see some change-ups onto what they might bring to the table. But it's been a tough season so far. It's been a tough journey for them. And it does kind of remind me of Chaos Theory, because Chaos Theory also had a pretty tough season to swap with, but then Chaos Theory came in pretty strong with a couple of wins towards the end of the season. So, yeah, maybe could see that for Incipience, or you maybe could see Incipience come through week 4 and 5 with some big wins. But at this stage, I'd say their playoffs hopes are kind of dashed. Unlikely to make the top 4 anymore. Their best score would have to be 2 and 3, and for them to make the top 4, the other teams would have to really throw away some games, and then Incipience can hope for some tiebreakers. But to get tiebreakers, they need map wins and they need map differentials. Map 4, let's take a look at what it is. And it is actually going to be Rialto again. So 3 out of 3 tonight. We'll see if Incipience can make this one different. This is still the night where comebacks have not really happened. And the team that's been losing has just not been able to climb back into the series no matter what they pick. And Eichenwalder into Temple of Anubis into Rialto has just been exactly what it's been the entire evening. And for the third and final time, let's take a look at Rialto. Alrighty, we're into the map, and loving this strat so far. The turret on the boat. How do you counter that? I don't know. New meta, boys. Nova Esports going to be defending first, Incipience going to be attacking first, and Nova Esports could potentially look for a quick 4 and over if they complete a hold at some point around. We've seen a payload map already, which didn't actually even get to the payload stage. We didn't see the payload in Eichenwalder. We just saw the first point, which was kind of just like an assault point, and that was it. So, on this attack, Nexus early fire strike, looking for some charge, finds 0 charge. And we're not going to see any Orisa Hog. We've seen teams play a lot of Orisa Hog, or at least Orisa's nice shot from Cryptic to start things out with on Rialto, but this time around, just no Orisa's going to be found. 404, Orisa not found. A kill was found, Orez was also found. GNX now got the flank going on, does get spotted, so well played. Ooh, 5 HP, no luck there. Double kill as well means pretty much a reset. Any members of Incipience that can get up will likely try and get out now. And card distance, nothing to write home about. Just sitting there into the choke. Some good ult charge from Old One as well. There's no snipers on the side of Nova Esports. They're running 3 supports here with Ryan Zaya Farah, so it's a bit of a different comp. It's just strange. But if they can make it work, they can make it work. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far, but I'm really looking at the front line. Because this is where you got Nexus close to a shatter. One literally on a barrage. Both players that died raised back into the fray. Shiki's actually just corner checking. That's actually quite a nice play. Just scouting out. There's a lot of time lost for Incipience, so now a bunch of ults come online for Nova. The timing is important because if you look at where Savage Dab is, Nova can really get some work done here before the ults come out from Incipience. A big chunk of damage that one did just then as well. I feel like the longer that Nova waits, the less opportunity they have to complete this, and oh, the wait is over, my friends. Grab into barrage. I don't know why Xeon Flux transcended there. I hope he was planning to change heroes anyway, because if not, that was an utter, blatant waste of an ultimate. Literally your whole team was dead. Literally no reason to trans there. Anyway, maybe the Earth Shadow from Savage Dab can sort of redeem his teammate. Rally did come out as well. Transcendence available for Oyo. Nova in a commanding position. That being said, Crazies went down though, so maybe slightly less commanding now, but Nexus used the Earth Shadow to quite get anything done with that. Shadow came down for Savage Dab again. Not really seeing the result of that. Still somewhat even trades. You'd think that this would certainly favor Incipient, especially with the res now coming into play. And double Valk. But Incipient's clearly gaining the advantage here. And Nova Esports definitely being pushed back. 11th hour stuff really. 1 minute remaining now, just under 1 minute. No real ultimates to speak of on either side until Xeon Flux gets his Transcendence back. We do have the final engagement. Nice shield bash come out from Shiki. He's going to allow now Nova Esports to find a way into this courtyard. But they need to engage because they don't have range. They can't play for too much range. What they can do is spam G and XL. But it's going to be difficult to jump on someone like Cryptic, who, by the way, is actually taking some decent damage, so it is still tough. It is still tough for Incipients. Because that was nearly a cap, but now they're under 30 seconds. Can't afford any more mistakes. This trance from Xeon Flux actually has to be good this time. Because there's a lot of options on the other end. Dragon is a good start. It's going to push members out, but they need to collect kills off this. They can't just be throwing ults like that. Oh, a shadow. Yep, that's going to do it. Support's flat on their back. No trance. No possibility of a trance. Ate that shadow like a champ. Probably should have, I don't know, if I wanted to be critical, if I wanted to nitpick there. Just trance anyway, but it's all over anyway. Hindsight is 20/20, I guess. It's a good effort by Incipients. Nearly completed that A point there, and almost a heroic hold from the side of Nova Esports to just make it back in time. And Shiki's just been crazy good this entire series. No matter what he's been playing, that Hog on Eichenwalder was brilliant. Saving the point now as Brigida on this defense. He's definitely been the one to look out for. Soothing Italian music to signal the calm before the storm. Calm before the supernova, possibly. As this now has to be the perfect defense. This has to be a flawless defense, or it is simply lights out for Incipients. And an 0-4 is not the way to go for this team. You will say, though, the card got close enough to the point it might as well be a cap. Obviously not as good as a cap, but it's close enough that it's defendable. Incipients are allowed to lose the choke area and then mount a final hold under the archway, similar to what Nova did, but you'd prefer not to be in that spot. You'd prefer not to be forced into recovery mode because, again, if you're recovering, that means you're already losing, so you don't want to be losing, you want to be winning. I can't believe it either, Shiki. I can't believe we're already in a position where you could be full holding twice. In fact, you have full held twice on the first point. You still got to attack. You still got to complete this. The GNX and Cryptic did do a reasonable job of finding angles and finding targets here. That being said, though, they didn't quite have that much opposition on the other side. It's not like there was no snipers on the other end, so they weren't super pressured. This time, there are definitely snipers on the other end. Fearless finds that one out the hard way. Cryptic soon to join him. Now, this defense is already completely falling apart. 3 members down. The front line of Incipience backed all the way up and the cart free to push through into the courtyard. No resistance, no contest. GNX swapping onto the Regida, but how quickly can they get back to the point? The only buffer they had, the only chance of making a mistake was at the start. And now they get to defend this archway, but it's the last line of defense. Wasn't much of a first line of defense, and the last line of defense will be the only defense they get now. But they need to make this one count. They need to be able to find the opening, get the opening pick, force Nova backwards. And by the way, that card is getting dangerously close. Somebody please touch it. All right, well, got members low, but getting members low is just not the same as getting them down. Nova Esports, though, they know how to get members down. And the fight's lasted long enough now that because A, they haven't changed members, B, they've gotten kills and they've got damage, they got the ultimate advantage despite the blade not really doing enough. It's not the blade that's going to be the killer right now, it's going to be just about everything else that gets opened up because of the blade. This is now undeniably going to be a cap. There shouldn't be any way that Incipience can come back unless Fearless gets 4 kills on the Lucio again. And for that, I'll say that was an MVP play, but Lightning, unfortunately for Incipience, does not strike twice in the same spot, not even for Fearless. The last member, the final stand. Victory Transcendence from Oyo as they collect themselves the 4-0 sweep. 2 of those tonight, nearly 3. Nearly had 3 4-0s. But this one, I gotta say, has probably been the most dominant one, the one with the most full holds, being 2 out of the 4 maps. First map was also a 2-0, whereas the other ones we did see a bit more variation. Nova Esports going to be quite pleased with that victory. Incipience definitely less so. And somewhat unfortunate way for Incipience to bow out this evening, but it is also a win that Nova really needed to progress through. Nova still have themselves Blank left as well as Cyclops Athlete Gaming, so you could say the hardest games are still ahead, but based on Blank's performance tonight, you'd say that Nova might actually have a pretty decent chance of winning that one too. CAG, not so much. CAG currently table top, is expecting them to finish first in this group, and Incipience